It's Seeking Sister Wives, Season 3, Episode 10, Deeper and Deeper. What a title.
Are you sure they didn't mean to spell it Dumber and Dumber?
So we see all of the couples. This season, I'm guessing it's going to be a 12-episode season. Not a lot of headway.
What episode was this?
12. No, this is 10. I'm guessing 12. I know. So we apologize for being late. John has a standing appointment Tuesday mornings, and we always forget. I always am like sitting down to have some quiet Nikki time when I see that Seeking Sister Wife is recording, and John's already gone to bed with the baby.
And also, I wish it was over 6 weeks ago.
Oh, you say that all the time, but he doesn't mean it. I think secretly he enjoys it.
I enjoy spending time with you.
Aww. So anyway, we've got the Winders, who I see many people make similar comments, which is they were the dark horse. They're the only ones who seem to genuinely like each other, who seem to have a fair division of labor, as fair as you're going to get, where there's one man and multiple women, but the women seem to genuinely like each other, all of that. This is her last day. They go out to the farm, which the way that they filmed it made it look like it was like 2 acres, but I'm guessing it's bigger than that. And you do put stuff at the edges, so like where they come in is going to be near the road and stuff like that. Anyway, but what was weird is it was the last night. It's weird to me. John doesn't think it's nearly as weird as I do. But that they left discussing religion until the very last second, because they have made all of these decisions about living polygamy and all that because of their religion. And so it was very surprising to me that they had been talking to her for a year. She's been out there for 3 days. And this is sort of a like, oh, by the way.
Maybe it was just a, hey, let's get that paycheck.
I mean, it could be. I mean, it very well could be. It could
also
also
be on TV.
That they've discussed it before, but they were like, maybe you should have another discussion on camera. I don't know, but it was just weird to me. John and I are pretty religious, so that was something that kind of came up casually because we dated like normal people, not like a job interview, like checking boxes. But it was very much like the way they discussed it was along the lines of like changing your last name, like kind of an aside. But they're like, oh, by the way, this is a deal breaker. How do you feel about changing religions? And she was like, I'm guessing she's just not very religious because she's like, well, I was raised this, but it's not really that different. And I was thinking, as someone who has been at Baptist churches, it's different. It's very, very ideologically different in terms of your belief about the afterlife. Now, maybe some people just don't care about the afterlife. I don't know. It's not a criticism, like, any more than all of this is a criticism. So I guess it's a criticism.
Of everyone.
But it was more of like, it just surprised me that this was something that was left till like the last minute over hot dogs. And there was the whole thing about grilling hot dogs, which just went completely over my head. So that's the Winders. In general, though, if we had to spend an evening with one of them, I think that's the couple that you would pick. Okay, then the Merrifields. Bert got COVID. Garrett couldn't stop crying through all of these interviews.
Which one's this?
Garrett, Bert, Colombian.
Oh.
The one he's got to do. And so...
Yeah, I mean, of all the things I look for in a cult leader, Garrett definitely has the look.
Man. So, and then, after all this time, it sounds like Garrick and Roberta, even though they don't speak the same language, that doesn't seem to be a very high priority as far as things to deal with.
And sharing
they
things?
Can't talk for a little bit because she has COVID. She can't stay with her mom because her mom's elderly and has smart decisions. She goes with the cousin. The cousin has terrible reception, no internet, all that. So they can't talk for a while. And then when they do talk, the two of them decide that they're going to not worry about the wedding, they're just going to get pregnant. And of course, my first thought is, that's almost guaranteeing that she's going to have this baby in Colombia. Because...
we know the future.
Well,
we do. And COVID got worse.
COVID did get worse. And it does seem also in a pandemic that the priority would not be if she's in an unsafe place and all that. And then I was kind of thought, I flew when I was about 5 or 6 months pregnant. I had a very uncomfortable pregnancy. It wasn't, besides my geriatric age, there weren't any genuine health concerns. You don't know if that's what they call women over a certain age that have babies or geriatric. But but I was uncomfortable, and I did fly, and I remember after that flight when I got back, and it wasn't even a long flight, I was like, I don't even want to go in the car anymore. Like, I'm so uncomfortable because it kind of, the seats force you like this, which isn't a big deal, but when you have an enormous belly, your ribs hurt. Anyway, so she's not, and you know, if she has any sort of, all I know is I thought the last thing I would want is her trying to come to America while pregnant. But I guess because of her age, they decided to start sooner, and it sounds like, she got a hold of herself, because the last episode she was like way down here and a mess emotionally, which I understand. John started dating someone else and just wanted to have sex with her all the time, was talking about her G-string and stuff. I would lose my mind. I think most couples, why are you laughing so hard?
It's just ridiculous.
But I think most couples would react that way because you've made a commitment, and she didn't go into this. This is something that he came up, God told him about recently that they should be doing as he starts looking at Colombian hotties. So it's one of those things where you just go, I think most people in a relationship, if someone was like, we're going to bring someone else in, would be like, yeah, I'm not exactly handling this great. She seems to be handling it a little better right now while Roberta's far away, and I guess they're working out 10 times a day.
And they're not bumping uglies next door?
Yeah. But it does seem, you know, after all this, like, we're all in this together, now they're making plans about having a baby. They don't even know. And then the family's like, well, what happens if she can't come? You know, is he going to run off? Is he going to leave you and go off to Colombia to be with a baby?
Which she already said yes to.
Well, they said they would all move there, and I'm kind of like, you're going to drag your kids to Colombia? None of you speak the language, and you've done nothing over the past year to try to remedy that. You spend the rest of your life in Colombia with, like, a translator?
Portugal, right?
The Portuguese is the language.
Oh, in Colombia.
In Colombia.
Oh.
I don't know why John has had the hardest time retaining that information. Every week
really
we have to Google what language they speak in Colombia. Anyway, the Joneses, he will never forgive that girl for her saying that she's better at sex with women than he is. He was like, everything, no, because he was like done with her. So now they're talking to another woman. Oh wait, no, that's the Joneses, that's the Clarks, sorry, the Clarks. Okay. Would you have even known if I got their names mixed up?
No.
No. So anyway, they're talking to a new lady named Crystal. And the nice about Crystal is she was born in the same decade as them. She's 37. She also has kids. She's a nurse. Beautiful lady. Maybe because I am so tired, I'm teaching a class, I'm writing a book, the baby woke me up, I'm having nightmares, the whole thing.
They all care so much.
No. I am so tired. I could not focus. I tried taking notes. I got like one line. I so struggled this episode because it just felt like
pretty awful.
Nothing came to a conflict point.
There was nothing interesting about it.
But I can't say this is the most action-packed series to begin with. But I just really struggled this week. Anyway, they talk with her. It's your standard talking. They talked. Vanessa's like, "Oh, he was so sexy," and I'm like, "Okay, girl, sure." But it's like that's how married couples should be. Where they think their partner is super sexy and attractive, and the rest of us don't even get it.
While they're trying to attract others.
Yeah, that's where I get, like, I mean, the idea of watching you flirt with another woman.
I didn't. Dating was not the funnest thing ever. Dating you was more fun, but, we keep that going.
Aw, listen to him. Yeah, anyway, so it sounds like they're going to have her out. Although the preview makes it sound like they're going to just give up this whole hunt. But I kind of wonder if that wasn't the case before the series, and then they got cast, and they were like, "Oh, the money's kind of good. You're a teacher / personal trainer. Maybe we could use a couple thousand extra in the bank." And then they're going to get to the end of the season and be like, "Well, let's cash this out." So anyway, it seemed like a lovely lady, though. Don't know. And all I ever hear when these women talk about what they get out of it is, I'm like, you could just get some friends. You could join a book club. You could, get a job and work. Like, you don't need to be sharing your husband's junk with other women in order to.
But the world needs it, honey.
The world needs it. Yeah, well, there's women out there starving, so we should give them food and penises. Anyway, back to the Joneses. So this is like so. I feel like there's this
Who are the
variation.
Joneses?
Joneses are the magician,
The Magic Man.
and the girl who's like, well, you can have multiple wives. So what if I have multiple husbands? And he's like, no, that's not how it works. Polygamy is one man and multiple women. And it's like he doesn't have a religious
Thank you,
background.
Webster's Dictionary.
He doesn't have. It's like. I mean, he wasn't quite that aggressive. He was very much like, and I get it. You get a pick. That's how they decide they want to do it. They can do it. But it's like, I even feel like it just seems to be totally random as to where this came from. Other than the fact that he just wants multiple women and then doesn't want to. So I can totally see from the outside where she's like, well, I don't get why I couldn't have, if you can have multiple partners, why can't I have multiple partners? And you and I would be one of those partnerships. And then, I mean, that does seem logically like if this was an alien species, then you would say, oh, okay, I get it. So every person can have multiple relationships, and that would make sense. And then, you know, they're kind of like, well, I don't know what she's talking about. It's like, well, magician, you know, you don't...
Maybe they are aliens.
Could be. Anyway, so there's that, and I don't even know what else they said. What else did they even say in this segment? And then the last one are the Snowdens, who I felt like it ended last episode with him saying he wanted to get married. And then they just talked about it, and then next episode they're going to get engaged. So one thing I will point out...
Probably episode 12. They'll wrap it up.
Probably. Well, they'll probably have the wedding then. Which is, and it is weird to me that...
I'm not interested in the wedding. I'm interested in the divorce and the restraining orders.
Yeah, kind of how it all goes wrong. Although, of course, it goes without saying that the idea of any sort of abusive relationship is absolutely stomach turning.
Yeah, but not unexpected.
Well, I mean, there are some warning signs from everything. Anyway, wait. Let's just get through this. So the one thing that so originally when we met the Snowdens, they were not married, and the idea was they said we're specifically not married because we want to make sure that any sister wives that come into the relationship were all on equal footing. Which from sister wives, we know how that happens when one wife...
It always works perfectly.
One wife is legally married and the rest are spiritual marriages. But because Chrissy is from another country, they would, and I can't remember if they said that explicitly or if I'm just stating the obvious, in order to move over to the U.S., they would need to be legally married, and that's more complicated legally, and of course it does take, there are more potentially financial risks to them being married and then having a divorce. The divorce is not going to care in the least bit that Ashley's been there for 10 years. Although maybe they would because it's been a common law marriage, but I don't know. I don't even know. You should talk to a lawyer to find out how that would all play out. Anyway, it looks like they agree that they're going to marry her. She's been there for 5 months now with her kids. So that's a very long time. And it looks like they're getting married. I don't have much more to say about that. I guess now they're getting divorced, and I hope it's one of those things that we can at least get her side of the story in season 4. They need to get on that.
Or at least the gossip.
But because that's what happened with the first season. Do you remember that family with the first season? And the first wife had dark hair, and she kind of was snippy. And then she packed up her kids and disappeared. They had just brought on a new wife, I think, if I'm remembering. This is, I do not hold this information in my head forever. But it was like a bummer because she just kind of disappeared and we never really got her side of the story. And I would have loved to have heard, I feel like that's what's happened with sister wives. We're waiting for one of them to leave, and the last thing we want is them to leave and then disappear and not get to hear anything. So I hope at the least bit, Chrissy has the opportunity to share her side of the story. So anyway, that is the show. Anything to add?
Nope.